welcome to another episode of the Silver and Black Coffee Hour. My name is Tom Petrini. I am joined here with my friend Zach Montana. Zach, how you doing?
I'm good, living life. It's a little chilly outside, but hoodie weather, still alive.
It is indeed hoodie weather. And then another friend of the show, Jennifer Coolidge. Jennifer, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm so chilly. Yeah, but could you
We're
give me
having
another
fun.
blanket? I'd really like another blanket. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Aaron Blackerby. Aaron, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I don't know. Jennifer Coolidge was here? That's crazy. This will
Yeah,
work
no,
better
friend of
for
the
our
show.
audio listeners.
Jennifer Coolidge, anytime you want to come on this show and talk about Spurs basketball or really anything, we're open to it. It's just have your people call our people. And while people are calling people, have your people call our people to like, subscribe, comment, um, share. What are other things you can do with online content, guys?
Retweet,
Give me
quote
some
tweet,
buzzwords.
subtweet,
Yeah. Untweet.
bookmark.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
could start a Reddit thread.
Yeah. You can
Have a
can
prayer
pin-
circle.
You can pin it.
Oh, you
Right?
pin it? You can pin it.
Are we on Pinterest? You can
I am on Pinterest. I have an entire Pinterest just dedicated to pictures of frogs. I would make a joke right now, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be a bigger man here, fellas. You don't like frogs?
I was perusing Blue Sky because Twitter was down one day, I think, and he referred to a post on Blue Sky as a skeet, and I was like,
Yeah,
I didn't know
you
they were
skeet.
skeeting
Oh, wow.
over here. Okay,
You skeet on Blue Sky. Yeah.
that's
What is he, the yin yang twin?
audacious
Skeet.
to even attempt, but okay. Yeah, so do all of those things to our show. We appreciate you. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. We still got some Spurs basketball left in the season. As predicted on the last show, the games in between that show and this show have been a little bit difficult for your hometown San Antonio Spurs. Good fight in a lot of these games and a win. But yeah, it's kind of some rough stuff here, fellas. Any
Yeah.
generic feelings before we jump in, AB?
Do you guys remember in the first Avengers movie when Loki is in Stark Tower and he's trying to step to the Hulk, and like in the middle of his speech, the Hulk just picks him up and just goes.
Yeah.
That kind of feels like the Spurs towards the end. There's some fight there, but it's for another Marvel reference. It's truly been clobbering time with the team. Well, when you play the last three champions of the NBA back to back to back, and with a gap in between and then back, good luck. That's all I'm going to say. We didn't promote this as championship week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. And for the Spurs, it wasn't like every game was their Super Bowl. It was like every game was a slog. But before we get into these games, since you brought up Loki, I've got to very quickly tell this story of a guy came into the shop a few weeks ago, and he was talking about, he was saying some stuff where I was like, oh, this guy's like got some different different perception of the world. Maybe he's maybe got some interesting ideas about like chemtrails and clouds and things. And he was talking about his husband, Loki. And I was like, oh, like the god of mischief. And he was like, you know him? I was like, I mean, who really knows Loki? He was like, hey, I got my eye on you. I'm like, I swear I don't want him. Like, that's all you, dude. You and Loki. We had our fun. But yeah, so to my customer who's married to Loki, Watch out, he's a dirty trickster. Um,
Well,
but
speaking of
yeah,
dirty tricksters and mythological figures, let's talk about the Boston Celtics and the mythos
Lucky the
around this
Leprechaun is
team.
kind of like the Loki of the NBA. What do you think about it?
I I would agree. He's kind of an
Magic
asshole as far as I'm
involved.
concerned.
Yeah, yeah. Rainbow, gold pot. You know how it goes. Happy St. Patrick's
Yeah,
Day. That was recently.
that was. But let's jump into the games. So we played the Celtics last Saturday. We're recording this on Sunday morning, and we lost to them. And when I initially was looking at the box score, I thought this was basically as good of a game as we could have played, with the exception of not getting a few calls. And, Zach and Tom, y'all especially called it. They were going to shoot threes, and we answered their threes by shooting twos and charging the lane, which can sometimes work, but otherwise it really didn't for this. Um, we had good energy there, but once again, just couldn't keep up with them. I do want to shout out though, Castle and Jeremy Sohan. Once again, just charging the lane and going in, and I just thought their energy was pretty unrelenting. I'm also guessing that this is the game where Jeremy hurt his back when he took that tough fall on it. And then Devin's come a little down to earth in this month. It's not like, well, I guess we're the sixth, so I mean we're not like terribly into this month, but his shot looked good, but it just he wasn't involved for some stretches, which I didn't understand. And the last thing I want to touch on this game is Keldon Johnson. We kind of talked at the beginning of the season about like, well, you have a good Keldon game and you have a bad Keldon game. And I think we now have he's graduated to having solid to good Keldon games. I don't know the last time I felt like I've seen a bad one from him, and I thought he looked great out there. So, do y'all have anything else you want to touch on from this game?
I'll build on the Keldon bit there for a second because yeah, progressing in the right direction, and it feels like his floor is higher, his baseline is higher, his average is higher, for what he's bringing in, and the highs have been more consistently there, right? So, really good game from Keldon. On the other side of the floor, Tatum spectacular. I mean, like almost a 30-point triple double. Uh, Celtics owned the glass in this game, which we've been talking about for a month plus on this show since Victor Wembanyama went down. Um, that's going to be a challenge for this team always. Um, Sohan missed all four of his 3-point attempts in this game and still had 18 and 8 and was a +2 on the court. So I think speaks to his impact on the game, even when that shot isn't falling. And that shot has been falling more in recent weeks. So, yeah, positives to take out of this game. Too much Celtics, though. Zach, what do you
Now
got?
you hit the nail on the head. I made a joke about they're saving Jason Tatum for the big dogs, and he surely had a big dog performance against us on Saturday. So shout out to them, and good luck to them the rest of the way. They have big plans this season.
So, Tom, what do you got on the next game?
Next game against Golden State. Brandon Pajemski doing his best Steph Curry impersonation. And the Golden State Warriors just gleefully stepping on the necks of the San Antonio Spurs over and over and over and over again. Uh, like Nelly once said, yeah, this was a tough one, guys. Spurs lost by like 42 points. Uh, it was never close or competitive or crisp on the Spurs part. Keldon had another decent game. Mamu, a double double, yay. Uh, Jordan McLaughlin, hey, threw some threes.
Made an
Uh,
appearance.
yes, was there. Um, but boy, fellas, this is like I don't think anybody played more than 25 minutes. Yeah,
Well, it's good
Champagne
that
and
everybody
Wesley.
rested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, great. Any? Am I missing anything? Did I miss anything good? Did I just?
I look, this game was over after the first play. And
First
I know
play.
this distinctly because yeah, first play it was done because Devin Vassell fell asleep on defense, backdoor cut by Jimmy Butler, wide open layup. And then Devin looks at Jeremy and they're like, whose guy was that? And I was like, friends, we are in April of the season. I think we need to know who's guarding who at this point. And when I saw how wide open that was, and I was like, okay, so there's no one in front of Jimmy Butler for almost 10 feet around him, but there's two Spurs players essentially hugging each other on defense. This is going to be a rough one. But you know who else did? And this is what I'm going to say about like the silver lining for this. I thought Mitch Johnson finally did his best Greg Popovich impression. He had some hockey-like substitutions. He got a technical foul. He was at least fired up, figuring out any way. And I feel like he's gotten critiques on like, oh, like, does he care? And I was like, well, one, like he clearly cares. But I think, especially with this like post All-Star part of the season, I really feel like Mitch Johnson has started to grow into himself as a coach. So I want to at least shout out him within a 42-point loss.
Yeah, Zach. Anything on this one before we go on to?
I'm so
Orlando?
glad I did ticket giveaway. I was about to drive down in from San Antonio to watch this game, and I was like, I just had this like suspicion. I was like, I need it. I don't think that's gonna be a good trip, and it wouldn't have been a good trip. So, gonna thank my crazy mind for making me think that one through. So that's my only take for the game. Once again, another great team with another great aspirations this season. So Spurs are running into some juggernauts.
Shout out to everybody who participated in that
Yeah,
giveaway. By
and
the
we'll
way.
do another one.
Yeah.
I hope whoever did go had as good a time as you can have at these. Yes, that's the thing too. Is like, we forget. I think doing this as a, as a hustle, right? That like, this is entertainment. This is a night on the town for, like, a lot of folks, and whether you're a diehard or not, like, there's people having fun at these games still. So shout out to Spurs fans for always bringing. the
Shout out John
fiesta
B.
to
John B
these
said the
games.
tickets were great. The game was ass. Hey, I can only help with the ticket part, but I had nothing to do with the game.
I mean, you did put in the call. You were like, "Hey, now that I'm not hitting down, really stink it up, fellas." But the Orlando game was a little bit.
Yeah, I
better,
was there
right?
for the Orlando
I mean,
game. It
much
was
better,
a
but-
typical Spurs game this season. Played great for 3 quarters, hold a team to 18 points in the third quarter, and still somehow lose a game. I don't know how you do it. Shout out to Julian Champagnie for having 5 threes made in that game. The guy next to me tapped me on the shoulder. Was like, "How many threes is that?" After he caught a rebound and found the 3-point line and put it up again over two players' hands and made it. Shout out to Julian Champagnie. Had a fantastic game. Harrison Barnes also had a fantastic game. It just a little too much down the stretch. A little too much. Paulo Banchero, him and Steph Castle were going back and forth in the fourth quarter, which I enjoyed seeing, which is a kind of eye-opening thing when you know how big Paulo is and Spurs are sticking Steph Castle on him, and they're going back and forth. They were talking a little mess to each other. I don't know if you can pick that up on the live feed or the TV feed, but Paulo had an and one towards the end of the game and went right to Steph and was chatting in his ear because they were going back and forth. Which is good though. I like dog on dog mentality. This is what you want to see if you're looking for growth and late in the season. Those are the type of experiences and those are the type of situations you want your young player in against the number 1 pick from a few years ago. Going head up, working hard. Bismack Biyombo, I want to give a little shout to him. He was fighting his ass off, doing his thing. Chris Paul was, it was just a little too much on the night. Magic are a good team. They're in the play-in spot,
Well,
and their defense really showed down the stretch. Spurs are having trouble scoring in the fourth, and that's what kind of was the difference maker in this game. What do y'all have on this one?
you know what they say, Zach. It's a dog eat
Mhm.
dog world, and the Magic were the doggy dogs at the end of this one. 37-21 Magic in the fourth quarter, which, you know, Spurs were leading, not necessarily in control. I don't know. I don't know how many NBA teams can really be in control of NBA
I would say about
games
5.
at this point, right? Yeah. There's till you get to the fourth quarter, most of the time it's hard to say you're in control. But they were leading this game, and then, you know, the Magic have a ton of size on the wing, a ton of versatility, and yeah, just a little bit too much, too physical, too good, on a night when the Spurs were banged up. Um, the Spurs, I think, fought well on the inside in this one. It was like, pretty even on the glass in the paint.
Tom, we
But
actually outscored them in the paint by 10. I mean, this game, if you really look at the box score, it's kind of crazy because looking at it, we're damn near close on everything. We actually outshot them from a field goal percentage wise, but they took 9 more shots than us. Like, I mean, it was like a very simple, like, they just put the ball up more than us.
You know,
You
I
know?
well, let me.
I know
Can
that's
I
been
take
living
blame for this
in your
game?
head.
I will take blame. I will put my hand up, and I think KCP has something against me because I was at a game a few years ago when he was on the Lakers, and I had the tweet. I will pull it up. I watched him pregame, and he missed the team. I'll make this quick. He missed like 15 threes in a row to break the huddle for the Lakers. They had a little pregame routine. Everyone has to make a 3 in order for them to get to their huddle. KCP couldn't make a 3 and the team was laughing at him. I tweeted KCP hadn't made a 3, all blah blah. And every time he's come into the stadium since, he hasn't missed a 3 in the fourth quarter. So I take full blame, Spurs fans. Hand up. I'll be the bigger guy here and say my bad.
Appreciate you, Zach, for owning your
Yep.
stuff. It takes a real man to show the strength of vulnerability in
You
this
will be
day and
punished
age.
accordingly.
Yeah.
Oh, let's jump to the next game, which was the next night against the Nuggets. Guess what? Everybody's sitting for the Nuggets. The Nuggets were not taking this game seriously, and we appreciate them for not doing it because having one former Clippers player is better than having 2. And so shout out to Chris Paul, showing off some of that vintage offense that he had. He did hit a performance incentive in his contract by improving the team to 10 more wins from the previous season. And Stephon Castle started this off with almost a triple double, and Harrison Barnes was looking like his Western Conference Player of the Year for him. And the other thing I want to bring up from this, and it's something like
Player
with
of
Chris
the year,
Paul.
yes, say it. I know that was a Freudian slip, but say it.
Oh,
Player of the
Western
year.
Conference Player of the Year, Harrison Barnes.
well,
Congratulations.
Player of the Week.
Congratulations.
Hey, you shoot 42% from 3, you should be Player of the Year, right?
Well,
But I guess one of the things that I really loved about this, and I feel like we've kind of seen, I think you'll touch on it, Zach, is Chris Paul, even as the season is nearing and technically has, as far as like playoff standings, nothing to play for. We're really seeing some vintage performances from him here. And it is something that I was kind of like hoping to see more of throughout the year, with him taking over a little more offensively. And one of the things that I thought was so fascinating at the end of this game was he seemed really emotional during the post-game interview with Dan Weiss. And like I don't know that he was crying, but he just like seems to know one way or another like the road is ending for him, and to still be able to give these performances. I don't know if he's showcasing it off for other teams. I don't know if he's showcasing it off for himself, but there does seem to be a genuine pride to what he's doing, and so I really want to shout him out from that game. What do you guys got from this one?
I was really impressed with this game because it was a well-rounded team win on a night where you were going to need that to win the game. Because, even though the Nuggets were sitting some guys, Spurs also sitting some guys. While we're talking about the guys sitting, let's just do this as a mental exercise, right? Jokic, Wemby, Fox, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson. If you how many wins does that team get in a 82 game season? That's like a 70
Yeah.
70 plus win team. Like that, it was
You
a
could
lot
run
of
Jokic
talent
out.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
not
yeah.
on
That's
the
a
floor
that's a
in
that's
this
a
one.
good fucking team right there.
That is a good
Um,
mental exercise.
like yeah, they but but in a game like that, right? That's when I think system basketball sort of takes over, right? And we see more of that Spurs system now in the absence of some of those guys. Saw it even more in this game, right, where you really needed it. Um, and yeah, Chris Paul down the stretch, we've seen it over the course of this year where he can just take charge of games, and he did it again against the Cavs. But yeah, Zach, what do you got?
It's just as I always mention, I don't care who's playing for the Spurs. It could be a bunch of Joe Schmoes, and if they get a dub and they're playing another NBA basketball team, I don't care who's playing for that team. They still got an NBA logo on their chest, and it's a win. Um, Shout out to everyone who performed. Chris Paul, y'all have already mentioned Harrison Barnes. Sandro came off, had 10 rebounds. To act like a lot of these guys cherish these moments to get opportunities to get a full run on the NBA court. And I think for the most part of the season, most of these players on this Spurs team have taken that opportunity and run with it. So I got to give credit for that.
I feel that. Well, let's jump to the Cavs game. Tom, what do you got on this one?
So the Cavs are a spectacular team. They've got a huge size advantage over everybody, and especially the Spurs. Spurs should have rolled over and
Sounds-
died when they went down 20. It's rollover and die time in the season if we're being real. After the week that we have just talked about, right? Like they've been going to work and getting their butts kicked a little bit, and fighting real hard. But like, man, it's got to be exhausting. And so you go down 20 to a team like that you played pretty close in the previous game, and then they blew you out of the water in the fourth quarter, right? And you go into that fourth quarter, and then you're down 15 midway through the fourth quarter. It's like, okay, it's over, right? And then no, right? Like the absolute refusal to die is really admirable to me. And Chris Paul again taking control late. Steph Castle, another almost triple double, 24 points for Devin Vassell, and it would have been 25 for Harrison Barnes if he had sank that little hook in the paint. He got the move, right? He got the move. He had the lane, and he got the shot up for the win, and it just didn't go. And the Spurs lose to the Cavs by a single point. Yeah, wow. Zach, takeaways from this one?
The $1 million move, 10-cent finish. That's the one thing you hate to see. But yeah, man,
It's pretty unky to
it-
do,
it-
right? Like that's a very unky
oh,
thing.
he
You
did
have to put
everything
work
right,
in,
but the hard
miss the
part.
layup, but
Man, that was it's like the ending of the game happens, Harrison Barnes misses that shot, and you want to be upset. You want to be like, damn it, I wanted to win that game, but you just can't. I couldn't even find like the emotion going through my head was, man, I just love how this team fights. You made a comment the other 10 minutes ago about how many teams in the NBA, when a fourth quarter lead comes and they have a 15-point lead, you know it's over. We said 5. Cleveland Cavaliers are one of the top teams in the league, and even they had issues holding the lead. So this is a difficult league to win in. This is a hard league to be consistent in. The fact that the Spurs drug it back, the fact that they don't give up with their 2 best players out, man, it brings a lot of pride to me. Just like watching these games, it's like it's the pride of San Antonio, man. We never fight. We're going to work hard and we're going to make things happen. And I think that fourth quarter, they go on a 14-0 run in the final 2 minutes of the game, or 14-1 run, and have a chance to win a game. That's all you can ask for. You can just want the guys to fight. And I think we got a fighting attitude from everybody on the court. Chris Paul didn't get a call, comes right back down the court next play, pissed off, gets the shot up. And then after the game, who's talking to Steph Castle? Donovan Mitchell. And they're going over moves on the court, like talking to him. Like, and for me, that's just awesome. Teams understand what we have. LeBron James, Donovan Mitchell, talking to Steph Curry or Steph Castle out of the game. Like, look at you. Like, you're a dog. Keep being a dog. Like, that just makes me want the future to be here right now.
Yeah, I mean, not every team though has the Western Conference Player of the Year, Harrison Barnes. So
I don't know if that's if there's an award for that, but there should be, and it should be the Harrison Barnes.
it should be.
Western Conference Player of the
It's
Year.
obviously the Harrison Barnes Trophy. Duh. Man, yeah, I think with these games, especially with that Cavs win, it's kind of that intangible of having vets like Barnes and Chris Paul on the team, where you're like, okay, they have taught these guys to be a professional. I would say last year that this team would have probably rolled over at that point, and seeing that part of the season, Zach, to your point, like Chris Paul invigorated. I also think like you have someone like Steph Castle who just has not just the dog mentality, but he just has, and I mean this in a good way, more so, he has tunnel vision. He had a quote at the beginning of the season where he's like, not really worried about what I'm going to do on offense because I'm going to make it up on defense, and I think his offensive game has actually stepped up. I think his defense has maybe taken a little, I don't know if I want to say a step back, but he's drastically improved on his offense. So some really good hard fought losses this week. So with that being said, let's jump to some more praise that we want to give to the fellas with high praise. Hallelujah! Welcome back to High Praise. We said our hallelujahs. We've said our other prayers. Anyway, at this part of the show, we always try to bring positive light to maybe some players, coaches, sometimes the fans, as Zach did last week. I'm going to kick us off with high praise and kind of go off what I was just talking about with Stephon Castle. According to Spurs Muse and NBA Stats, Stephon Castle right now is the only player. Notice I said player. I didn't say rookie. I said only player in the NBA currently in April with 25 plus points, 25 plus assists, and 25 plus rebounds. The last few games, as we kind of already alluded to, he has been near triple-double watch. And it's really cool to see a dude like this who we talk about the rookie wall. We talk about, when they come from college, they played so many less games. Like, are they going to hold up over an 82-game season? And this guy's still putting up numbers like that, and the only one in the NBA currently. Just want to shout out and give high praise to Stephon Castle.
Shout out to him. He came into the league stating and telling everybody that, hey, I am auditioning to be a point guard and to have the ball in my hands. And everyone questioned that. Everyone said, hey, what are you talking about? You played the 4 in college. And he kept telling everyone, I did that just to fit into a role to make my team better. I'm a teammate. I'm a team player. That's what I like doing. That in itself, hey, there's a quote that I always love hearing from Larry June, and it's bet on yourself. Because, like, you just bet on yourself. Like, no one else is, like, you're the guy in control. Just bet on yourself. And he bet on himself and reaping the benefits of it right now.
And the Spurs bet on him too, right? Trading the Dillingham pick and bringing in Chris Paul, that was a moving all of their chips into the Steph Castle business. And you said tunnel vision earlier, Aaron. I think you guys know I'm a motorsports guy, and like a lot of times the guy who goes the fastest is the guy who gets closest to the wall, you know, and you know, because you're stretching it out, you're going as fast as you can, you're stretching that straight line out, right? And there are guys that get 6 inches from the wall and think that they're getting as close as they can comfortably get, right? And Steph Castle is a guy who just sends it in there and is like, if I hit the wall, I'm going to hit the wall. But, like, if not, I'm going to get as close to it as I can, right? And that's sort of how he plays. And that's a really fun way to watch a basketball player with his explosiveness and his skill set and his ability to get downhill and find his teammates, right? He's making a lot of higher level passes. Triple-double is coming soon. Very excited to see that. So, yeah. Zach, who's your high praise for today?
My high praise for the old vet Chris Paul. He's played 77 games this season, the most he's played in the NBA season since the 2014-2015 season. I will not remind y'all how that season ended for the Spurs because it had something to do with Chris Paul, so we won't go into that. But shout out to him. It's been AB touched on it when he said, hey, I expected to see more of these flashes from him this season. It's nice that we haven't necessarily needed it. I feel like in the back end of this stretch, the team is relying on him in certain situations a little more. And it's just been fun. It's honestly like I left the game the other day on Tuesday. Spurs lost. Chris Paul had some flashy plays where he's looking like his old self, dribbling the ball between players' legs, making no-look dimes, hitting threes. And you kind of just sit there and you're like, it makes me sad in a way. Because you're like, man, I really wish I could have seen more of this in person as on my favorite team. You know, like that is kind of like
there's something about like seeing one of
right.
the greats get to your team late in their career. Like as a Yankee fan, we got Ichiro.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but that's the point. You appreciate
very
it.
late in his
You watch him
career.
you watch him on the court, and you just like can't take your eyes off him because he still has glimpses and he still has flash, and you're like, oh, I get it. Like this guy's 18 years older than the guy guarding him, and he's still doing things like that. I get it. Like I can see why he's so great because he looks great now, but you can just tell there's limitations to his game. But I do want to give credit and shout out to him. He got his bonus and he got his incentive for getting the team more wins, 10 more wins this season. I don't know what he does with that $260,000. Does he, I would be pretty, AB, you said he was emotional after the game. Be pretty emotional too if someone said, hey, here's a check for $260,000 for playing basketball and winning games. Like I get it.
I don't
And I
think
think
that's that much money.
I
to
know,
him.
but hey, it's just in general.
No, but it's think about. I think that what the bonus is for means more to Chris Paul than the dollar amount, right? Because I mean, this is a guy where everywhere he's been, the team has done better with him there, right? And yeah, like same way with Ichiro, like the most impressive thing about him, obviously really good at the sport that he does, but the off-field stuff, the leadership and the the intangibles, the other thing, the aura,
Mhm.
right? Like Chris Paul is an aura guy. Absolutely. Like there is, and usually, like, yeah, end of that 15 season, Chris Paul's aura maybe like, walk through the streets at night, like just wandering. But now watching him play in silver and black, it's yeah, we don't know. You don't know how many more of those
Mhm.
moments you're gonna get, but got to be appreciative of everyone. Um, One guy who's sort of on the opposite end of the career timeline that I want to give some quick high praise to is Blake Wesley, who we've talked about on this show before. Um, Fast guy who the game is slowing down for, and like, we talked about this uh, during this week, but like when Blake Wesley catches the ball at the 3-point arc and has an open 3-point shot, we're now at a point where it's like, yeah, shoot that dude, because he was 41% from three in March. He's kind of a little bit streaky, but getting a set three with that first step, with the speed that he possesses, um, he's a menace point of attack defender. He's uh, gotten a lot better at finding the gaps in the defense and finding the teammates and using his handle. Um, I've really enjoyed watching Blake Wesley play, and I think that he is definitely carving out a role for himself on this team.
All right, let's jump to questions for coming up this next week. I don't think for the most part we have many questions about the team entering the final week of the season, but there is still some Spurs news to go around and disseminate from. We went to the first playoff game on Thursday night of the Austin Spurs. Um, it was an awesome game. They uh, blew it out in the third quarter when they scored 41 points and made 8 threes. Malachi Flynn went off, and we got to talk to G League Coach of the Year Scott King from there. It was really cool. And after the game, we were wondering who are they going to play. Everybody was cheering for the Sun Valley team, Phoenix's affiliate, so that they would get to play again in Austin. Sadly, their opponent, the Stockton team, affiliated with the Sacramento Kings, won. So the team flew out the next morning to California, and they're playing tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPNU. If you hear this before, we're recording this on Sunday morning, and this is going to be a tough game for them. They have actually not beaten this team this year. They've also never gotten to play them in Austin. They've only played games in Stockton. But the last time they played them was in December. The first game they lost by 2, and then the next game that they played against them, I believe they lost by 8. So this is not an easy test, but Tom, I think you really love this about this team. They're the number one uh, defensive team out there in the G League, which I think really speaks to Coach Scott King, his coaching prowess to get dudes dialed in like that, especially G League could be like kind of a rotating door of guys either going off for 10 days, coming back, 2-way contracts, all that sort of thing. So to get this group of dudes bought into defense is great.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
monologuing here. What do you want to say, Tom?
Everything that you said about the Stockton matchup being difficult. Stockton is the only team in the West that has home court over the Spurs, and the fact that the Spurs have only lost to them this season, only lost to close games. Um, when you're going into that conference final single elimination game, with the coach of the year, with the league's best defense, I think that's an awesome chess match because, I mean, we saw it with this Utah team that they beat here. This is the third game that they played against them in the last few weeks. Lost the first game, close. Won the second game, close. Won this game. And you know, Coach King was obviously, in exactly what you would expect in terms of, talking about this award. Coach of the Year is not a single person award. It's a team thing. It is my staff. I can't do this without my players. All of that stuff, right? But bottom line, if you are a team in any professional basketball league in the world and in 2025, right? And you're the best defense in the league, that's a coaching thing. That is a system thing, and the coach implements the system. That's as clear an indication as any that this guy is a serious tactician and leader of men, right? And so we asked Malachi Flynn about it, and it was basically like, yeah, everybody buys in, right? And Coach King after the game, he said, all I'm trying to do is get these guys to sacrifice, to play together, and work hard, right? And this team communicates defensively. They're Everybody competes. Everybody challenge. He was like, challenge every dribble, challenge every shot.
Well,
It's very
Tom,
simple.
I think this also speaks to him. Sorry to interrupt there, but he had a
No, go
great
ahead.
anecdote about him and Malachi Flynn. Malachi went on a 10-day contract, I believe, with
Mhm.
the Hornets and left the team because it was a 10-day contract. Jabari Bouye also left on a 10-day, but I believe the Bucks signed him through the rest of the year. So shout out to Jabari Bouye. That dude deserves it. And when Malachi was getting off that 10-day, he talked to Coach King. They were in Mexico City, and they were only going to be there for like the day and then fly back to Austin. And Coach even told him like, "Hey, man, like we can just meet you in Austin. Like, don't worry about it." And Malachi Flynn was like, "No, I want to be with this team." And I don't know, like we hope to talk more to Coach King in the off season, get to know him even better. We've gotten to talk to him a few times, and there's clearly something about what he's saying, the way he carries himself, the way that he is coaching on his details and consistency to where he's backing it up to earn the respect of not just like the younger players, but like more vets that are trying to make it back in the league, like Malachi Flynn. And that's a dude who's, he's kind of entering his journeyman status. So I really want to shout out to that
Well, I
for him
hope
as
we have the
well.
opportunity to talk to Coach Scott King again. I have an inkling suspicion he might not be around in Austin for too long because he's a fantastic coach. I said out loud that I left that interview with him and I was like, he's going to be an NBA head coach within the next 5 years. Like that is what I.
Well, you just said out loud that he's a fantastic
So
coach too, Zach.
yeah, I say everything. I say a lot of things out loud. But point being was I
You're a
left
loud
there and I
person.
was very taken aback by the way he held himself, the way the players talked about him, the way he articulated what he wanted to get to media and towards the players itself. Yeah, just I won't go much more further, but I grew a lot of respect for him. I've watched him coach from up close, being on the sideline at media, and be like, this guy, they obviously love working with him, but then hearing him talk, having his reasons, I was like, man, I love it. This guy is going to be a great coach.
Cool. So I think the next question that we have to ask here is, uh, we've got the next step in Project Marvel, the planned uh, entertainment capital in San Antonio. The city and the team just finished uh, a memo of understanding. Yeah. So fancy government speak for, hey, we're all on the same page and we want to do this, basically. Uh, Team excited about it, city excited about it. With the Final Four in the city, which we'll talk about in our subsequent question, a reminder that it is important for local businesses and for the community to have the facilities to host things like this. And, no secret, Spurs probably would like to upgrade their arena and have it in a more downtown central location. this is that. Zach, what are your thoughts on
There's a reason they announced this during Final Four week. There's been rumors that the Final Four itself in the NCAA won't come back until the team actually puts upgrades to the Alamo Dome. It has nothing to do with the city itself. It's just the venue. So there's a reason why this was released the week of Final Four week. Because you mentioned it, it's $400 million in the pocket of the city. The local businesses love it down there. The city itself is growing. This makes perfect sense to announce it now. Because once again, the NCAA has not announced. I went back the next 5 years. Spurs are not on the NCAA Final Four list because they are waiting to.
God, I hope
because
so.
they're waiting to find out. Hey, this is what's going on. We're waiting to see if y'all get approved for this to upgrade the Alamo Dome to bring the stadium in. What I will say is Project Marble is exactly what this team needs. As people who've gone to games at the Moody Center with it being downtown and being able to go out afterwards and do things before and whatnot, it makes so much sense to bring the stadium back downtown for the businesses, for local businesses, concerts, everything that it's going to bring with it. It makes so much sense. I understand it's going to be a little bit of a hit on our tax dollar, whatever you feel about it, but in the long term, it makes so much sense.
Well, one, I hope that the Spurs are never playing in the
Did I say
NCAA
that?
Final Four. The NBA Final? You said
Oh,
the
I meant
Spurs.
to say
Yeah,
I meant to
we're
say
having a
San
lot of
Antonio.
Freudian
I meant to say
slips.
San Antonio, excuse me.
interchangeable
Right,
in
there
many
you go.
contexts on this show, but not
Uh,
that one.
Yeah, my understanding with Project Marvel at the moment is that the team is going to take care of the stadium, and that the team is going to. And this is not. I don't want to. This is not sourced from the team or anything like that, or anyone that I've talked to with the team. I'm going off of what's been released to the press before. My understanding is that the team is paying for the arena and has paid for the real estate of that land, and that what looks to be falling on to San Antonio taxpayers is the land bridge that they're talking about creating, some of the other entertainment around the area. Now, if I'm wrong, sincere apologies on any misinformation, but that is my understanding. I think it would be really great to see a new arena. I don't think the Frostbake Center is like a bad arena by any means. Like, go to the Toyota Center in Houston if you want to see a bad arena. Like, truly, it's old and decrepit, but it is in downtown Houston. And when we look at some of these other stadiums where they create these entertainment districts, I think there's a lot of that model after where the Lakers play. But now we look at, like, I think part of the reason why the ownership group is looking at moving on the land in the arena is they look at what Steve Ballmer has done with the Clippers. It gives a little bit more leverage over to the team to deal with concessions, deal with vendors, deal with concerts, like, for themselves. One of the things I don't think people realize is that the Spurs lease the Frostbake Center. They do not own it. And if you're looking at this truly from like a business standpoint, it is good business to own real estate, regardless of what happens with it. So with the team, and we know that the Dells are a part of this ownership group as well now. The McCombses had come back in the last few years. I think they also look at this as like, yes, there is going to be spend for like San Antonio, the community, the entertainment district. I think that's great. But also understand, like, what this does is when arenas make money, they don't make money off ticket sales. They make money off suites, and they make money off concessions. And I mean, not like candy sweets, but
Only when
corporate
AB's
suites.
around, though, they make money off it.
I mean, I do like getting my candy at halftime.
We're all halftime candy guys. You were disgusted by Zach's choice for
Yeah,
Sour
I
Patch
felt
Kids
very
game
judged
the
the
other
other day.
I'm not a sour guy. Chocolate
Okay,
all
there
the
we go.
way. But but all that to say is like with this arena coming up, one, like I do encourage people to like keep their mind open with what that looks like. But two, I've been also to a couple other places. We see like Toronto, it has a viewing area for playoffs. I've been to a Golden State game last year when they played the Bulls, and it's like an amazing experience on the outside of the arena, the way that they have it set up. So I would say like look for those things, and also challenge your city officials in any way that you feel like they're not serving the community. So that's what I'll say on that. And we like
So
I said, we don't. Oh,
I
go on,
pulled it
Tom.
up just because I wanted to check here. According to KSAT's article, the new arena could cost 1.2 to 1.5 billion, according to a city estimate. Still no breakdown of how it will be paid for. But then there's also city staff have laid out possible funding sources, both public and private, for each portion of the project. Exact breakdowns remain unclear. The city hotel tax would not be going toward the arena. The arena would be, according to this plan, taken care of through the venue tax, the Spurs, private funding, and then PFZ and TIRZ, which I don't know what that is. But so yeah, other things would be funded. The convention center expansion, the Alamo Dome revision, that would be city hotel tax. But yeah, so interesting times. And all of the renderings I've seen for it look really, really cool. But yeah, in a revitalized entertainment district downtown would be really, really cool for San Antonio. So obviously something that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Currently, the reason why something like that is super important is because San Antonio hosts things like the Final Four. And I'll be honest with you fellows, I haven't watched much college basketball at all this year. I have been I have been so busy with other things, and I'm always reminded of you know Greg Popovich in these moments, because I was having this conversation with Tynan on his chat, and anytime you ask Greg Popovich, like, oh, what have you seen from this guy on another team on his film? He's like, I haven't watched his film. I don't have time for that. Like, I watch my guys on film and we work on us. My staff watches the film. Um, Having said that, what a game in San Antonio last night. Cooper Flag and Duke in the house, losing to Houston though, on a big comeback from the Cougars. I know you guys were watching this game. What did I miss? Tell me about Cooper Flag. Is he the real deal? Is there anyone else in this game that jumped out to you?
Well, I mean, I think he's the real deal. Mm, You know, it. I'm sad that he's not going to be in the championship, but it's very few times that you get to see someone that's already projected to be the number one pick, um, like make it this far and like step up to that. I think kind of, I'm not also like a big college basketball person, but the last person that like stuck out to me that was like number one pick and made it this far was Anthony Davis. And he did play in the championship game, and I remember being like, oh, okay, I get why that guy's number one pick. And I felt like that with Cooper Flag. The other guy, though, and I think we will be talking about him as we get those lottery odds, Con Knipple.
It's getting nippy in
Look
here.
out for that 6'8" sharpshooter. Yeah, well, it actually is too. So, but he is 6'8", shoots the lights out from three. Pretty interesting prospect. I really enjoyed watching him on defense. He was a really great defensive communicator that game, especially with when Duke went to zone. So shout out to them. Zach,
I
what do you
just
got?
love big moments in San Antonio. It's good for the city. It's great that 4 number one teams were in town. I think that helps with people expecting to be there with hotel rooms and everything. So just great for the city. I'm happy for the city, and I'm happy there's great games last night. Both games were fantastic. Both games had comebacks. That's all you can ask for in these type of moments is you want great games.
And
Oh,
literally in the Spurs
Yeah.
building, right? Like Duke and Cooper flag in the Spurs building. Uh, it's great for the city. It's also great for the Spurs, who are gonna have lottery picks, and like can be like, hey, how are you guys doing? Good to meet you. Welcome to San Antonio. Have you been to the Riverwalk? Like, just get
Get
a little,
acclimated.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, get a
Yeah.
little taste.
Well, guys, speaking of little taste, we are officially in the little taste of the season because we have one
I'm
more week
sad.
to go. And so we're going to go through games that we have coming up this next week. And they will culminate next Sunday against the Raptors to close it out. But before then, we got a game this afternoon against the Portland Trail Blazers. Pretty interesting team that we thought was going to be tanking all the way through. They have a really interesting young core. Scoot Henderson came on. I don't like Tumani Kamara, but I would love him to be on my team. They are 5-5 in their last 10. We're probably not going to catch them in the standings at this point. And sadly, it looks like Jeremy Sohan is going to be sitting out this game again, even though the last game was when we talked about how good the Point Sohan experiment worked out for us. So, you got anything else to say about the Portland game?
I gotta say, shout out to the Blazers, man, for not dying. Like we love to see that from our team, and I gotta respect it when I see it from other teams in an NBA where, March Sadness, it feels like they're, a still too large percentage of teams that are like, all right, it's over for us. And you talk about it all the time, AB. Organizations might tank, but players don't. And the players on this Blazers team believe in themselves and are playing like it. So yeah, should be a fun competitive game because that's how the Spurs are playing too.
Shout out Chauncey Billups. It's good to see a guy I grew up watching figure out how to coach an NBA team and get some wins. So shout out to him.
Right on. Well, let's go to the next one. All right, Clippers on Tuesday. By the way, we have like a bit of a road stint to close out this year, and then we'll play back at home against Toronto. But Tuesday night against the Clippers, right now, they're needing every win that they can get, and they're going to be well rested as they will not have played a game since Saturday, which they beat the Dallas Mavericks last night. And if y'all are following anything about the Clippers right now, everybody is talking about Zubac. Guy is averaging a double-double on the season. I believe he's 4th overall in the league in average rebounds per game. Pretty good. Kawhi Leonard ramping himself up. I know. Throw up your X's. We just said the name that cannot be said. And James Harden having a silently really solid season consistently for this team. Man, they're needing every win that they can get. I think they're still in play-in right now around the 7th spot, and they're technically tied with the Timberwolves, but I believe the Timberwolves have the winning percentage on the season over them. So what do you guys got to say about the Clips game?
I think Zoo should make an All NBA team this year. I think he's been that good.
Yeah.
And he's been a tough matchup for Wemby in the games that the Spurs have played against the Clippers so far this year. I think he's going to be a really difficult challenge for this team in the paint when we know how much of a challenge it's been given their center depth. So yeah, Zubac is the guy to watch in this one, and I think one of the more underrated players in the NBA right now.
Well, I do think we have a decent matchup with them. Let's throw Bismack at him. Let weight on weight, muscle on muscle, man. Go fight. Bismack Wimbenyamo, as I call him sometimes when he gets some blocks out there.
It's no shade to Bismack Biyombo, right? It's just, you look across the way and you see a guy who's like really
Yep.
on a tear. But yeah, no, it's like that. If you're gonna throw anybody at him, throw Bismack Biyombo at him, right? But keep going.
No,
Sorry,
you're
I didn't
good.
mean
No,
to
the
interrupt.
Clippers are the Clippers, and we've mentioned it so many times that we get to this part of the season where teams are fighting. You got teams fighting for playing spots. You got players fighting for roster spots on other teams. It always kind of ends up being a decent balance, and you're going to find a decent basketball games for 3.5 quarters. I just don't think the Spurs have enough firepower.
Well, and then guess what? That firepower will be put to the test the next day against the
Oh,
Golden State Warriors, who just blew us out by 42. Another team fighting consistently for their playoff positioning. I want the Warriors to get out of the 5. I don't want Lakers Warriors in the first round of the playoffs. Make it second round, hopefully. LeBron and Steph. Let's elevate the stakes of that. I don't know what we're going to be looking at for availability with people on the team. I don't know if even Jeremy Sohan, if they're planning on bringing him back. Charles Bassey seems to play for 10 minutes and gets hurt.
he played for
So
3 the other night. And
who
then
knows
didn't
where
play
that's
again.
going? Yeah. Thank you, Zach. My point is to make even more.
No, he played 3.
But yeah, this will be a back-to-back for both teams. But yeah, we're hitting a rough stretch to end the season. Y'all got anything else with the Warriors?
Another opportunity to watch Steph Curry,
Um,
and you can't turn those down.
True. And Brandon Pajemski also. But yeah, man, Warriors have been so good since the Jimmy Butler trade. It's crazy. Who would have thought? I guess the
Yeah.
Warriors. They thought right.
Pods
Um,
has been on a heater
yeah.
lately.
They're just good, really good team. The Suns on Friday are an interesting one. And like, because the Suns are a team that's made a lot of moves, and those moves have not worked, right? But they're still fighting, right? So, Aaron, I know you have some Suns thoughts. I have some Suns thoughts just looking at them because it's like, wow, the vibes are bad. Like it seems like the vibes are not good over there. So, what do you think the Suns are going to be at this point in the season with one to go?
Well, to bring back a Marvel phrase that I brought up earlier, the Suns in the next week are going to be going through their own clobbering time. Hey, Fantastic Four comes out this summer. Maybe it'll be good. The first 2 iterations of it sucked.
Give us money, Disney.
But before we play the Suns, which we've had a very, interesting relationship
Oh,
as a Spurs team with, they have a brutal end to the
Yeah,
season.
they
They're
do.
playing the Knicks, Warriors, and Thunder. So they're on the outside of the play-in right now. So we'll have a good idea by Friday if they're playing for anything or not. You know, yeah, just a very strange team. No one seems to really want to take that play-in spot for the Western Conference right now. You got anything, Zach, on the Suns?
yeah. I was just looking at their schedule. They got to play Sacramento in the season too. They're gonna, yeah. That good luck to them. I thought we had it bad. But the Spurs they had it worse.
Well, they're rough stuff, man. But Tommy, you got anything else on the Suns?
No, I mean, I think that this is, especially if it's over for them, a super winnable game for the Spurs. But like in any case, it's a winnable game for the Spurs because they just seem like they're in disarray, right? And like they might be looking for an outlet during that gauntlet of a schedule, but also they might just be so like, beat down and done with it that it's like it might be mail it in time. I think there's a
Yeah.
couple of players on that Suns team that kind of have senioritis, as it were, at this point. So yeah, I think
I do want to have a little
hesitancy.
hesitancy because they could potentially be one game back of the Kings and they play them at the final game of the season, which is a full game to grab back. So there could be.
Speaking of disarray, the Kings. Oh boy.
Let's don't do that,
That's all I'm
Tom.
gonna say
Look,
on that.
that's why I'm saying, like, we'll find out before this game where they're at. And then we're gonna cap off the season against the Toronto Raptors back in San Antonio. It's gonna be an afternoon game. Tickets are pretty cheap, so just something for y'all. I don't know if we're gonna be there yet or not. Some people are saying this will be the most interesting game. Two teams that are, vying for lottery odds. Spurs fans, let me stop you there. We're not catching the Raptors, okay? In losses. We're just not. Just cheer
I don't
for
wanna
a
see them
win.
try.
Yeah, let's just cheer for a win to close out the season. You can believe the game's going to be at 2:00 on Sunday afternoon. I'm sure there will be fascinating exit interviews to parse through what was said. Like, where's Mitch Johnson going to vacation? Hey, maybe he's gonna go on vacation with Jennifer Coolidge.
You're kind of getting into like a Mike Myers.
Yeah, like a Mike Myers, Donald
Dr.
Trump,
Evil
like,
type
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, busted out a lot of impressions teeing up this game, but yeah, I just say root for a win here to close out the season. Y'all got anything on the Raptors game?
I hope we win by 80 this
Yeah,
time.
give us a high note, man.
I hope
Say
we win by
again?
80. We beat them by, 30-some last time. Let's double them up. Win by 60. Go on a high note.
Yes, I see it. 140 to
There
70
it is.
will be the final score of this game. Go Spurs, go.
Man, well, with that, we will be back next week. Yes, we'll be moving to off-season programming. We're still figuring that out. I think we might. Well, we're still figuring out, like, if we go to the game or not, what our schedule will be next week. But we will have another episode recapping the week, probably some questions we have going into the off season, things like that. So keep us in your feeds, keep us in your hearts. And Zach, what do you got to say before signing off?
It's always a lot. We as Spurs fans, we're like, hey, let's get to next season, and then the season ends, and you're like, damn, that's a long wait to next season. So just embrace this week, enjoy it, know the future's bright, and embrace what your players are doing on your team right now. So that's all I got.
Tal?
I actually do got something.
Oh no, sparkling water.
So as longtime listeners of this show will recall, we recorded the first few episodes out of Lazy Days Coffee Shop, where I work, and I've worked at the one up in Pflugerville for the year that we've been open. And my last day there was actually Friday. Not because I'm leaving Lazy Days, because we're opening a new one. And that new one is going to be Speedway and 31st, right here in the heart of Austin, Texas. So very, very excited about that. We should be grand open on 420. So come out.
Oh, what a quinky dink.
Hell yeah. We'll have an episode to further promote that grand opening before then and now. And Spurs fans, like I said, we'll have some further off-season dates to keep intact. First one to think about, May 12th, NBA Draft Lottery. So, with that, thank y'all again for being here.
Hey, this is the Silver and Black Coffee Hour. We're just below 40 episodes, but we're approaching it soon. And I just gotta say that this is probably the best Spurs podcast out there. Yeah.
All right, thank you, friend of the show, Jennifer Coolidge. Really appreciate